Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another panel. Thank you for joining us here on SiGMA Roadshow, Nordics and Netherlands edition. I am pleased to be joined by two industry specialists in the world of payments and tech who have come together to share their perspectives, taking a look at some of the innovations driving the major growth in Nordics and Netherlands. Here with me on this panel is Daniel Buttigieg, Chief Commercial Officer at AppCopay, and Marius Galdica, CEO at ConnectPay. So welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for your time.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me.
All right, before we do proceed with the discussion, I'd like to ask if you could each take a moment to introduce yourselves and what your companies do to give some background to our audience. Daniel, maybe we could start with you.
Certainly. Good morning, Anis, and thanks for having us. AppCo has been involved in the gaming industry, based in Malta, pretty much since the beginning of the gaming boom. We've been helping operators with providing a one source of getting all the payment methods aggregated together. So we work with around 40 acquiring banks, 240 payment integrations into alternative payments. And basically there's a full consolidation of a single stack providing a full service basically for what the operator needs.
All right, and Marius, could you give your short introduction about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Marius, the CEO of ConnectPay. My entire career, I've been always, a technologist, a digital technologist person. I've spent last 7 years focusing a lot on the fintech industry. At ConnectPay, what we do, we are an electronic money institution with pretty much all of the licensable activities available to our license. What we do is we provide financial services for online businesses. So our focus is online businesses, and online gaming is one of our core key verticals that we focus on. And we provide, the entire suite of services as a one-stop shop solution for the online gaming industry.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. Now to kick things off, my first question would be, what would be the situation with cryptocurrency as a payment method once the online gambling market goes live on the 1st of October? Daniel, can we start with you and get your insight on this?
Sure. I mean, we've seen a steady increase, Yanis, in crypto usage, especially in the gaming industry, basically. Crypto as a market stood around 754 million 2019. It surpassed that in 2020. It surpassed the 900 mil mark. And will probably continue a steady increase of about 10% year on year to reach about 1.7 billion by 2027. That's what the stats and the trends in the market show. Although it's still, I would say, quite early to put a finger on when crypto would take over other payment methods like cards and banking solutions in the Dutch market, specifically on things that people are very accustomed to, like Ideal. Crypto innately gives added benefits, around things like enhanced safety, security, credibility. Also, one very important factor, what crypto brings to the table is cost savings for the operator, because you have less issues around things related to how incumbent fiat methods work, like chargebacks, for example. The savings then obviously translate into better bonuses, better promotions, better incentives for the player itself. So it seems to be heading in a steady path for that. One of the things that we need to look out for, obviously, in applying this, especially in the gaming industry, are traces on source of funds, for example. Things that are prerequisites like ID verification, where transactions are originating from, where they're going. And from maybe a regulatory point of view, it would be slightly heftier for conducting these checks, because the regulatory side of things has always been accustomed to conduct verification, screening, and implementation of the AML directives largely based on a fiat-based model. So until things align and adhere, We will see a little bit of, I don't like to use the word turmoil, but we'll see a little bit of pushback perhaps from different parties. A couple of years back, for example, we saw the appeals court, for example, in Netherlands, saying Bitcoin is not indeed a digital currency, which is a little bit shocking in my personal opinion. And then you also see, for example, the Rotterdam District Court ruling, for example, in favor of Bitonic quite recently, where basically the DNB were pushing on the crypto wallet address verification implementation of their additional technical standards that were not then required. So seeing that unfold is definitely a step in the right direction. I mean, implementation of crypto, for example, plugged into things like smart contracts also allows also the operator to prove that they are giving a trustworthy experience to the player. The Dutch market is very accustomed to, for example, in the casino world is accustomed to slots that the Dutch community love. And there's no better thing than providing 100% transparency on all the different gameplay and results and payments, etc., etc. I think that in the long term, crypto is definitely here to stay. It might take a little bit of time, perhaps, for it to become the ideal payment method, because in especially in the Dutch market, it's the ideal method is the primary vehicle. I would say it's a primary open banking way of moving money across, especially in the gaming industry.
All right, thank you, Daniel. And similar question goes to you, Marius.
Yeah, well, I can only concur to many of the things that Daniel said. I think Daniel is right? That crypto is here to stay. Crypto is gaining traction. We cannot ignore the boom or the impact that has on the market. However, from the perspective of a regulated financial institution, I see some paradoxes there, right? So, firstly, for example, Bitcoin was created, as sort of an outcome of the crisis of 2008, right, where the trust in financial system was lost, and people were looking for means of moving value without intermediaries in between, without financial institutions in between, and cryptocurrency in itself, it has inherent properties of being, of anonymity. It has inherent properties of anonymity and other great values and benefits. But the paradox that I see, right, is, and especially for the gaming industry as a financial services provider, right, at the end of the day, when you have crypto being used for payments, for paying for services, right, you end up with trying to get a control on the value that moves, right? So like Daniel mentioned, right, the source of funds, where did this crypto originate from, where did it come from, and so on and so forth, right? And that is the paradox that we as a financial institution have, is because our obligation is, when we provide a service to a gaming customer, an online gaming customer, right, our obligation, as per our license, is simply we have to know exactly who's the ultimate debtor and who's the ultimate creditor, right? We need to know the exact both ends of the transaction, who they are, number one, and number two, what is the business purpose of every single payment or every single transaction. And all of that together has to make sense for us to be able to provide services. So when you plug in crypto as part of the payments ecosystem, when a gaming operator starts also accepting crypto, we get into the situation that sometimes it's technically it's either very expensive or very difficult to ensure the same level of trust or same level of understanding of the flow of funds. And I think that inherently is a problem in itself, especially for the online gaming industry, because online gaming is also considered a higher risk industry. So will crypto take off or take over? I honestly, so far, I have doubts, especially when we see the regulators and many regulators across the world cracking down on this industry. So does it have value? Yes. Is it a great offering? Is it the future of payments? I strongly believe yes, the technology, the blockchain itself is definitely very beneficial. But I think there's a long way still to go until we get to the point where crypto can replace fiat or can be used by as a very convenient and simple and fast and cheap payment option for service providers online.
All right, very interesting, very fair points you just both laid out for us today. Well, speaking of Holland Casino, seems like they have partnered with Playtech for their tech platform and games. Is there anyone or any other B2B companies really making good progress for Netherlands? And will the likes of Holland Casino be able to accept on-site payments and payouts? And how much of an advantage is this for them? Daniel, could we start with you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the marriage of two titans, no? Playtech is massive. Everybody knows Playtech. Similarly, you have the incumbent player in the Dutch market. They've been on a steady journey for doing this since I believe 2014. Late 2014 is when the first initial discussion started ramping up for them to ink the deal. Obviously, mentioning that there definitely will be quite a longish journey for it to eventually be unleashed in the market. We were having actually a couple of discussions with some people earlier the month. It probably will be another 12 months before we'll see the fruition of the project. On the operator side, there are obviously a growing number of applications happening. I believe there are about 25 at this point in time. That will take around 6 months, and obviously the underlying platform for that, although there is no B2B as such license that they need to get, obviously the game suppliers need to be sensitive to the fact that the Dutch market requires them to comply with rules like the electronic means. They need to develop, control, and facilitate access to the databases, for example. They need to preferably use labs in the Dutch market. These would be good to have, I guess. Will make the full journey, the full package offering more localized, even in terms of the gameplay itself. Localization is key, but one of the things that platform providers need to also ensure. There was a recent poll, for example, Janis, that said that compliance with the local regulations is the prevalent point that the platform providers need to ensure they have. So there are certain basics like the player exclusion system, for example, in the Netherlands groups. That needs to be an element that they need to come with prepackaged, basically. And I think the Dutch market is certainly poised to become one of the most interesting and attractive, because of the sheer size. 95% penetration internet usage. People who can afford to spend money on their entertainment. The gambling market there is projected to reach about 1.1 billion in 2024. So definitely there will be a growing number of interested parties, basically, that will partake in it. There's the Nog Associates, naturally, so you get all the tier one brands, obviously looking at the Dutch market, and the platforms underlying these brands will obviously be attracted to the market. We have the Bet365s of this world, Betson, people like Betway, Kindred, Leo Vegas. These will all be people that would definitely be interested in the market.
All right, thank you, Daniel. And Marius, could you comment on the above?
Yeah, well, I think Daniel pretty much said it all. I think it's a great change. I see this, happening. We see this happening across different countries in different stages. What's happening to the Netherlands right now? So the online gaming is becoming finally, licensed and official and controlled. obviously the objective is to allow for a legitimate licensed business to operate and ensure that the citizens of Netherlands can game, have fun, and also be safe about it, right? So I think that's the objective of the regulation. As Daniel mentioned, right? So there's a lot of things that are coming into effect. Some things, for example, are not yet defined, right? So in terms of and I'm referring to other B2B providers like game platform providers and so on and so forth. So some things are not yet defined or clear in the regulation. I think some things will come up, and these B2B service providers will need to amend and change their offerings and technology to be able to offer services to the Dutch market. However, I see this, it's actually, I think it's a very big opportunity for a lot of, different gaming providers. As Daniel mentioned, there's, over almost 30 or maybe even more probably applicants that have currently applied who have the possibility to go live. Last I heard was that there's some actually planning to already go live in October. So we'll see how that pans out. Obviously, opening an operation, that's a big effort. But at the end of the day, I see this as a big opportunity. There's going to be more competition. There's going to be better product offerings. It's going to be safer for the players in the Dutch market. And at the same time, as we have more operators, that's obviously a much bigger opportunity for B2B service providers, the ones that provide services to the online operators.
All right, thank you both for your insights. And what about banks and credit card companies, or the Dutch National Bank, so to speak? Will they be ready to accept online gambling payments from when the market goes live on October 1st, or do you see the situation taking time before those transactions become seamless? And another follow-up question on that, what about the affiliates and agents? Will these cash transactions be forbidden? Can we start with you, Daniel?
I mean, the Dutch market will inherently move to the payment method they love. There's ideal that dominates. It's a banking transaction. It's a pay-in only transaction. It's loved by the Dutch market. You just need to own a bank account, basically. So that will be naturally the first, probably the first port of call of what the Dutch regulated licensed operators now will probably push more. Comes with a number of benefits as well compared to cards, because ideal transactions are fixed price based and not percentage based. That's obviously massive savings for the operator. You get inherent safety around banking transaction. Not that cards are bad, but we see providing different methods to different markets. We see that certain markets home into a particular method because it has safety. It's known. It's trusted. It's trusted by the banks. It's spearheaded by rigorous controls. So the DNB won't probably say you can't or you can use cards. That would be up to the operator. So I would say most operators will give a choice for both. The relative controls obviously will be on the operator, so they need to ensure that they apply to the standard policies basically around money laundering, tackling player addiction will basically be key, so they basically need to ensure that the platform itself has the necessary controls on checking when a payment was made, how often a payment was made, the time when a payment was made, and a number of other variables. Basically, the actual method itself will kind of like be dictated mostly by its market where it operates. The important aspect around the payments obviously will also be the symbiotic relationship with the exclusion register to ensure that if players choose to self-exclude, that is strictly adhered to. No nonsense around that. But we'll probably see more of the same from the Dutch market, and I would say that ideal will continue to trump as the preferred method.
All right, thank you, Daniel. And Marius, we'd love to hear what you have to say in response to that.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off the ideal will continue to trump. I absolutely agree. That that is the best preferred option for payments right now. So look, in terms of other financial institutions and other companies, being able to start accepting payments, I think any institution that can control the risks associated with online gaming will be ready. Yeah, I mean, if they have, if they understand the industry and so on and so forth. So I think it's just a very risk-based decision that any financial institutions take. What I can say is that from our perspective, right, as a financial institution and based out of Lithuania, we obviously have passported our licenses into the Netherlands. And we are live right now with payments initiation services in the Netherlands, which is basically the means of payments through open banking. So we have connections to all of the banks in the Netherlands, and inherently, our offering is just as safe, as secure as for any as any bank payment, right? So riding on the open banking wave and on the PSD2 directive, we have deployed our service in the Netherlands, and we are ready to offer the service there. So I'm sure there's more providers like us that can do the same thing and will be able to. Obviously, as I mentioned, right, there needs to be a very clear focus on understanding of the online gaming industry and the risks associated to it, which is something that we also do. As I mentioned, it's one of our key verticals. So in terms of the agents and affiliates, right, I think the way I understand the current sort of setup of the regulation, right, the operator is is responsible for everything. The ultimate liability falls on the operator. So that's the current setup of the regulation. Will it change? Yes, there's Q&A sites out there and discussions are being open. But given that, it seems like affiliates or agents and whatnot are not will not be engaged or will not have immediately, right? Will not have some constraints. That is my guess, right? Same goes for financial institutions. In other markets that we see that financial institutions, if they are servicing online gaming, they also suddenly have additional requirements to be able to provide services to such an industry. And this crux system is one example, right? That it's not an obligation for a financial institution right now to tap into it, right? Because the obligation is for the operator. But I would not be surprised that sometime in the future, suddenly that becomes a requirement for other B2B service providers for the online gaming industry, such as us, Connect Pay. So yeah, I really think payments will be fine. There's going to be a big battle for the customers in the gaming industry in the Netherlands, and we'll see how it pans out.
All right, fantastic. And Marius, as a service provider for this market, can you walk us through the process of getting a license for this market? Was it easy? Was it simple? Was it fast? If it is easy, was it your decision to enter an easy one?
Mm-hmm. Well, we are a financial institution licensed out of Lithuania, and in Europe you have the passporting option. So by default, what we did, we obtained the license here. Our electronic money institution license, as well as payments initiation license and account information license, and we passported, our license across Europe. I can say that the experience with different countries is different, right? Even though you would expect it to be, same and seamless. However, the Netherlands actually falls into the category of where it was seamless. It just happened. We had, no additional requirements, no follow-up queries. We had no issues, whereas with some other countries, we did have some issues. We had some delays and so on and so forth. So I think, our experience with the Netherlands market and obtaining a license and passporting it into the Netherlands to be able to offer our services there has been completely seamless. And no, it was not a decision to go there because it's easy. And the decision was to go there because we see a lot of opportunity in the Netherlands market.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you, gentlemen. We have come to the end of our discussion. So thank you very much for the very informative, very interesting insights, and thank you for your time.